Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to my videos. Another paid request this time for Alban. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And he was asking for my top 15 favorite films of 1999, which was a bit tough because this was a pretty damn good year. You have a lot of, at times, significant movies, movies that still hold up fairly well. Sadly, there's stuff I had to leave off the list. Like Three Teens I enjoy, Bats with Lou Diamond Phillips I enjoy, among others. But these are the 15 I picked. Number 15 I picked Bowfinger, because I think of that era of Eddie Murphy, that was one where it was a bit more wittier, thanks to having Steve Martin in there. You got Frank Oz directing it. I like the idea that Steve Martin and this low production film crew are trying to make their movie where the star doesn't know that he's starring in the film. So they either get the guy's brother, who's a more dirty looking Eddie Murphy, which I like that character because he's such a sweet guy. And just how they're tricking the other Eddie Murphy to be in the movie. And you got Jamie Kennedy in the film. Steve Martin's a lot of fun. It's nice to see Steve and Eddie work together. So that's a pretty entertaining movie, Bowfinger. Like I said, definitely one of the better Eddie Murphy films of that era. Number 14, I put Blue Streak. I like Martin Lawrence. I would say that's one of his better films that he got to star in, other than Bad Boys 1 and 2 and Nothing to Lose. That's one I'm surprised never got a sequel. I'm sure there was talks of it, but it just never came to fruition. But that seems like a movie that would have got. I would rather prefer Blue Street sequels than Big Mama's House sequels, because I know someone was like, "How do you not like Big Mama's House?" I got that comment about a week or so ago. I'm like, because I think it sucks. And look at IMDb. I know who cares about IMDb, but I'm like, there's a reason why the ratings are shit. Because I think it's a shitty movie. If I want more Lawrence, I'll watch Bad Boys 1 and 2 and 3. I like all three of them. I'll watch Nothing to Lose with him and Tim Robbins. I'll watch this movie. He's a criminal that pretends to be a cop in order to get this diamond that's hidden in the police station. I do like Luke Wilson and... Oh, I know his name. Come on. How the hell do I not know his name? He was in Out for Justice. He was in Stone Cold. Is it William Forsythe? It was nice to see William Forsythe play a good guy, and I wish he was in the film more, but it's nice to see him handle the comedy bits. That he doesn't have a whole lot of comedy, but it's just nice to see him in there as a good guy and an ally. Luke Wilson plays off Martin Lawrence decently well. Martin held his own as the lead. Dave Chappelle's in there. Get some nice, funny moments with him. Like the whole interrogation scene between Martin and Dave Chappelle. It's pretty damn funny. That's an entertaining movie. That's a film that don't really talk about a lot nowadays, but at the very least, a fun diversion for a rainy day. Number 13, I put Dogma, because this is when Kevin Smith was worth a shit. Was worth an iota of fuck with his strips. And when you look at the strip for Dogma, it's very unique, creative, pretty decently funny, pretty good cast. Especially you got Alan Rickman and Chris Rock. Linda Fiorentino as the lead is there. It's funny. I remember on the commentary when Kevin Smith was much more honest. You get the hint that him and Linda did not get along well. And that in retrospect, he kind of wishes he would have used Janine Garofalo, who was in the movie. And I actually think that would have been better in the long run. I think Janine Garofalo seems like she's a better fit for that group. Linda Fiorentino... She's fine. Like that's the thing. She's not even a bad performance. It's just I think someone like Gina Garofalo would have worked a bit better, more simpatico. But I mean, you even got Selma Hayek in that. Of course, Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, Jason Lee. It's a long film, but it didn't feel too long. Did good supporting cast. Even George Carlin is in there. Jason Mewes does a great job. This is when Jason Mewes, I thought, was a lot more sincerely funny. I'm glad he got sober, but sadly, not just that, but when he did something with his mouth, surgery, new teeth, whatever it was, that he just didn't sound the same. And that kind of affected his speech a bit. And then that kind of affected his line delivery. So when he got into, like, Clerks 2 was probably the last time I saw him that he was funny, and he was kind of going towards that. But you watch Jay and Silent Bob's reboot or Clerks 3, or even other random stuff. He seems like a nice guy. I like Jason Mewes. It just, he does have that same line delivery as before because of whatever had happened to his mouth. I don't know if it was the drug usage. I don't know if it was just some other surgery he needed. Get his teeth out. I don't know the details, but this is definitely one of his high points is in this movie. And it's just a very creative take on religion, but also taking a bit of the piss out of religion. You tell that this is something, which it was something Kevin Smith had to say, had something worth the shit to say, really put a lot of his heart into it, and thus made one of his better movies. And I don't know. I know at one point, I don't know if the Blu-ray is available. Because I know I have the DVD. I remember for a while that was like hard for people to get to find. But yeah, Dogma is definitely a worthy entry on this list. Number 12, I put Resurrection. The film that, yes, takes a big nod to Seven, but I still enjoy on its own right. You got Christopher Lambert, or some people pronounce it Christophe Lambert, as your lead detective. It definitely has the same Seven atmosphere with the rainy streets and the moodiness of it all. I like Leland Orser as, who is also in Seven, as Lambert's partner. Liking Christopher Lambert, liking the moody setting, and the idea that the killer is killing people to take their body parts because he wants to recreate the body of Jesus Christ by the time Easter rolls around. That's such a interesting, crazy idea that helps make that film unique. And it's violent when it needs to. Definitely has more of a hopeful ending compared to Seven. So, yeah, that one I always thought was a bit underrated. I'm glad Vinegar Syndrome released it on Blu-ray. I have it right there. So that was nice to see. Number 11, I put Fight Club. But I can't talk any further because you don't talk about Fight Club. But it's Fight Club. What more can be said? It's fucking Fight Club. Original, creative, well acted by his two leads. A mind fuck of a trip. And one question. Would you fight William Shatner? Fight Club is great. Number 10, 8mm. Nicolas Cage joint. Show that Joel Schumacher is not just Batman and Robin. It's not just Batman Forever. He could do fairly dark material. Written by the guy who wrote Seven. About an investigator looking into the snuff film because this person wants to find out, is this real or not real? Yeah, Joaquin Phoenix is a guy helping Nicolas Cage along. Now, it's not nearly as dark as Seven. The premise is, but the violence, it's weird to say gore, but the grisly makeup effects of the victims in Seven, you don't get as much of that in 8mm. Some people might say it feels neutered, but I think it's still enough there to warrant a subject matter. I thought Nicolas Cage gave a fairly solid performance. The ending was satisfying enough for me. And that's one that sadly went under the radar when it came out, but really effective in what it was trying to showcase. Highly recommend 8mm. Fuck this shitty sequel. Yes, there was a sequel that wasn't needed. But again, for those who make fun of Joe Schumacher, always just Batman and Robin, bad nipples, again, go watch A Time to Kill, go watch 8mm, go watch plenty of other movies that will showcase that. There's a lot more to that director than what people gave him credit for. May he rest in peace. Number 9, I put Galaxy Quest. Heartfelt, entertaining, funny take on Star Trek, but also, in a weird way, a love letter to the fans, because they become the heroes at the end. Tim Allen, Alan Rickman, may he rest in peace. Sigourney Weaver, Tony Shalhoub. Great cast. The big difference between how they are on the show to how they are in real life, and how these characters in real life are dealing with these crazy situations. Even get some nice makeup effects in there of the alien species and how these guys are trying to deal with this stuff. And like I said, a very inventive movie that just very funny, very witty film. I'm not going to go too in depth on each of these because it would take me like 40 minutes to do it, but Galaxy Quest is a great one to watch. Even if you don't know anything about Star Trek, it's still a good movie to watch. It's a nice heartfelt movie too. Number 8, Sleepy Hollow. To me, one of Tim Burton's last great movies. Johnny Depp, I liked his quirky investigator, kind of a precursor to what they would do with Sherlock Holmes, Robert Downey Jr. in a way, where the quirky investigator in that style, just without the visualizing slow-mo. Fairly gory when it needs to be. Nice to see an R-rated take on the Legend of Sleepy Hollow. Great art direction. Like, Tim Burton had an R-rated vibe to it, which was nice to see. But just at that point, there was not a whole lot of R-rated Tim Burton movies, now that I think about it. I'm trying to think. Was Edwood... I'm trying to think what other Tim Burton films were rated R, because he did Batman Returns, Pee-wee's Big Adventure. I don't think Edwood was rated R. I don't think so. I don't see how it would be. I'm trying to think what else. Edward Scissorhands? No, that would not have been. So this might have been his first R-rated film? I can't remember now. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But if not this first, he had not done a lot. So it's nice to see him kind of go with that with a bit of gusto. Almost like a Hammer horror film type of way. Speaking of which, you got Christopher Lee in there. Nice to have Christopher Walken, who you try to find out is the Headless Horseman. The style, like the whole finale with the windmill that's on fire. And I said Johnny Depp, I mean, he's playing quirky, but for the most part, he's still a normal acting guy, which was refreshing, because usually Johnny Depp would try to play... has to be as unnormal as possible, whether later on it was as Willy Wonka or Jack Sparrow or something else, Dark Shadows. But here he still had enough normalcy that it was nice to see, especially in retrospect with a lot of Johnny Depp's roles. Definitely a good one. Number 7, I put The Mummy. I think it's a fun adventure, action adventure in the style Raiders Lost Ark, Indiana Jones. Not as good of it, but Brendan Fraser, highly entertaining. I think it's easily the best of the Mummy movies. Just a rollicking, fun adventure with a great score by Jerry Goldsmith. I like the rest of the cast. Arnold Vosloo as the Mummy himself. Oded Fair. Kevin J. O'Connor as the weasel type of guy. There's a nice firefight action. Yes, the CGI, it's 1999, so it doesn't hold up the best. But it has such an energetic gusto adventure quality to it. I think Brendan Fraser fits the lead well, the lead role well, where he can be funny, but at the same time he's can do action, like the whole bit with the sword, fucking up the mummies, and the great Jerry Goldsmith score, rousing through it all. And that kind of bit what he was doing is kind of what you see in Chris Pratt in Guardians of the Galaxy or some of these other films later on. And in retrospect, you only needed one Mummy movie. But yeah, just an entertaining adventure with a good cast. Number 6, the remake of House on Haunted Hill from 1999. I'm not really a fan of the original. I thought this was much better. It's easily much better than The Haunting of 1999. That remake. The Haunting that was in 1999. I mean, it's called The Haunting. It was in 1999, same year as this. That film sucked. That had Liam Neeson. This one, I like the cast more. Jeffrey Rush is having a ball. There's a little bit of Vincent Price, a little bit of some stuff up his sleeve. Just the sharp-tongued rapport he has with his wife, played by Famke Johnson. The other people, I like Ali Larder. I like Taye Diggs. Oh, what's his name? Corky. I can't remember his name. Corky Romano. Can't believe I can't remember his name. He was actually not that annoying in this. Can't believe I can't remember his fucking name. Oh, God. How can I not remember his name? I don't know why it is with me in the past year or two. I'm so bad with names. Granted, it's a guy that hasn't really done much for a long fucking time. Chris Katan. I mean, I don't know why I thought of that movie. But what the fuck was the last thing Chris Katan had done? I have to look that up later. Because I haven't seen him in a long time. Which is funny, didn't he do the film with Will Ferrell, A Night at the Roxbury? And then you see just how successful Will Ferrell's gone. And then Chris Katan is kind of left behind. But sometimes that happens. One guy just gets more successful than the other. But yeah, House on a Hill, compared with the other remake of that year, The Haunting, House on a Hill felt more like a horror movie, with the asylum setting and the more gritty set design, and The Haunting tried to make so beautiful the architecture, the art decorations, that I'm sitting there going, what's scary about this though? What's creepy? There's nothing creepy or scary about this. This is like you're trying to make each shot a painting, but it just there's nothing scary about it. House on a Hill, it tried to have a bit more of a creepy vibe. There's even little bits of Jacob's Ladder in there where Jeffrey Rush is in this room where it's fucking with your head. You have people shaking their heads like in the original Jacob's Ladder movie. Yeah, it's R-rated, so you get some nice bloody moments in there. The movie falls apart a little bit in the third act when you have this CGI black mist come out. That just, it's not scary. I think there was a scene there for some reason they cut out that dealt with zombies. I don't know why they cut that out. That would feel more legit than the black CGI mass. But it is what it is. So that, because then the effects are not the best. It's 1999, and like it's a black fart cloud. But with that said, I still quite like the film. Let's see, Tay Diggs in there. Black guy doesn't die. Uh, that's a one I do quite enjoy. Number 5, I don't know if I have the Scream Factory Blu-ray of that. I think someone had sent me the overseas Blu-ray a long time ago. That's probably why I never grabbed the Scream Factory one. Maybe I'll grab that one day, if it's still in print. Number 5, I put Universal Soldier: The Return because I think it's an underrated, fun action B movie. Yes, the plot is about AI, voiced by Michael Jai White. They take control of this military compound, and you see like the computer screen, and it looks like some of that be on a Power Rangers TV show, with the graphics on the screen. And the way I looked at this is kind of like a Canon or PM Entertainment film given a theatrical release starring Jean-Claude Van Damme. You got Michael Jai White and Bill Goldberg as your bad guys. You got Van Damme. One of the last times you'll see him smiling, trying to, just giving a full rounded performance, as in there are times he's good at being dead eye stare, very serious. Wake of Death, for example, does great in that. But so many times it's like he's always sleepy looking, and maybe it's his bipolar drugs he takes or something else, and you're almost like, hey, open up your eyes more, Van Damme, and do this. Here he's like energetic, and he's laughing, he's joking, and he kind of like how he would do in the early days when he was interviewed on Arsenio Hall or other talk shows, and he tried to have fun with the crowd, and it was great to see that. When you watch it again, it's refreshing to see that. And yeah, the guy who directed it was a guy who was action stunt guy, choreographer. So that's first and foremost, it's bread and butter. So it doesn't have much of the directorial style of Roland Emmerich and Universal Soldier. And I would say the first film has a bit stronger story. But as an action film, it's fast, it's fun. You got Megadeth on the soundtrack. You got Van Damme kicking ass, taking names, shooting bad guys, having a great fight with Michael Jai White, despite some really bad CGI at the end of the fight. But the rest of the fight, one of Van Damme's better fights in a movie. Now, obviously, he didn't do all the moves, but you tell he did a lot of it. It's just, I could tell there's certain things that Van Damme can't do. But it was hidden well enough, a lot better than it was in Sudden Death. And you tell that Van Damme did a lot of it himself because he wanted to prove himself, because his films were going direct to video. This is going to get a theatrical. It's a sequel to a hit he was in. He was getting sober. I want to prove I'm back. He gave it his all, and sadly, the film was this big flop, considered one of Van Damme's worst. I'm like, if you think this is one of Van Damme's worst films, have you seen Derailed? I don't see how this is worse than Knockoff, and I don't mind Knockoff, but I think this is better. I think this is better than Pound of Flesh, or that last film he did that was on Netflix, or you have to give me a list of Van Damme films, trying to think of the top of my head. I think it's better than Street Fighter. Anyway. But yeah, I think it's better than the other Universal Soldier films afterward. There's that Van Damme being acting like a robot because now he's been brought to no emotions again because the story tells it. And then he's crying, sleeping while monkeys are playing on TV. Has this shitty fight with Dolph Lundgren where he's just going through walls 5 times. And then Van Damme runs off at the end to be a wannabe Colonel Kurtz from Apocalypse Now in the next one. And have a bunch of epilepsy to give us seizures. And Scott Adkins is good in it, but that story just pissed me off. That's a whole other thing. But The Return, I like that movie quite a bit. Number 4, Deep Blue Sea. There's not a lot of great shark films, but this is one of them. Some of the CGI does not hold up the best, but there's some good practical shark effects. Thomas Jane, Sam Jackson, LL Cool J, Michael Rappaport has a pretty good cast. Great production value. Rennie Harlan, I don't care what anyone says, he's a very solid action director. Cliffhanger, Ford Fairlane, Die Hard 2, Long Kiss Goodnight, Mindhunters. He's a very capable director. He knows how to handle the action and set pieces very well. He had a pretty good cast. It's a B movie, fucked with the brains to get more out of it, but it makes them smarter. Granted, just making them smarter, you have to actually teach them. I have a bigger brain, but you have to teach me the stuff in order for me to maintain that knowledge. But okay, it's not the most realistic movie, I'll give you that, but it's a fun B-movie idea. But at least they had the budget and the talent to showcase a great set that they had of this facility on the water, corridors filling up with water, great set pieces where they have to climb up and the shark comes up and grabs the lady and Tom and Jane's trying to grab her. A lot of that done practically. It wasn't just, let's just shove CGI everywhere. They put CGI in when they thought they needed to. Doesn't look the best, but there's a lot of practical in there. And explosions and action set pieces. Sam Jackson gets eaten. Which is still, I remember seeing that in the theater and the audience go, oh shit, at that moment. I do vividly remember that. So I do remember seeing this in the theater because that moment was a highlight for the audience. Because there's this big speech and the shark comes out and go, what the fuck? Again, when you watch it now, CGI does not look good at all. But it's still a moment that makes me smirk and smile. Chalk up to nostalgia. Or whatever the case. And then Deep Blue Seas. Jaws is my favorite shark movie. Deep Blue Seas is my second favorite shark movie. Number 3, The Matrix. I saw in the theater. Great experience. It's The Matrix. Great action set pieces. A lot of gunplay that sadly there wasn't as much gunplay afterward. Maybe because of, this Columbine, all this other stuff that they blame films like The Matrix on. So then they shied away from. That's why you don't see as much gunplay. It was much more fight scenes. There's a little bit of gunplay, but not as much as that scene in The Matrix with the trench coats and great fight sequences. The story, you've seen it before. Machines taking over humans. What is reality? But done in an effective way with greatly utilizing the technology at the time. The bullet time, it had been done before. Blade, you have the bit where Steven Dorff goes out of the way of these bullets. But here is done much more efficiently, especially for its time. Keanu Reeves was the right guy for that role. Same with Lawrence Fishburne, Carrie-Anne Moss, Hugo Weaving. They casted well. It's greatly photographed. A lot of great style to it. And also, they didn't have the pretentious. I like this Matrix sequels, but to see how people felt there was a lot more pretentious storytelling being done in those. The Matrix is much more simple, much more straightforward. I think for a lot of the audiences, they appreciate that and they prefer that. And I don't blame them for that. I think if they kept that mentality more in the sequels, they probably would have been better liked and better received. I appreciate how unique the Wachowskis was doing in the sequels, but at the same time, I get what people's issues are with those as well. And that's why the first Matrix is still looked on because of that simple, straightforward narrative, like you would see in Star Wars, the original Star Wars, and other stuff. And just great action set pieces, a soundtrack that fits perfectly with the visuals. It blew people away. I remember, this same year as Star Wars: The Phantom Menace, and the Phantom Menace, in a weird way, looked old hat compared to the Matrix. It seemed like this is the new wave. This is the new Star Wars. This is the Matrix. Number 2, I put End of Days. Arnold Schwarzenegger's most underrated film. I love this movie. I saw this in the theater. Yeah, Arnold fucking with the devil. You want to fuck with me? You're a fucking choir boy. You're meant to be a choir boy. Arnold trying to play a bit more serious role, which I appreciate, where he's suicidal. He lost his family, so he's a bit of a darker character. Nice bit of change of pace for Arnold. Gabriel Byrne's having fun as the devil. He's punching holes through people's heads. He's making asshole kids get hit by a bus and go, nice shirt, because the kid had like a devil shirt on. It's like R-rated horror action with Arnold type of set pieces. There's a possessed woman. There's a woman working for the devil, and Arnold says "fuck you" and slams this old lady into the glass, and it cuts into her neck. There's an early chase scene where he's chasing a guy, but he's hooked to a helicopter. So the helicopter's gliding Arnold to get to this guy. There's Arnold psyching the devil out. Fuck you! Throws him off the fucking out the fucking window. Kevin Pollak was nice supporting role. It's just a scratch. Stop acting like a pussy. It was R-rated for what it needed to be. The girl, I'm bad with names. She was fine. She was fine for what she needed to do. I love the finale where Arnold gets all these guns and is shooting all the cult members and shooting them with machine guns and grenade launchers, shoots the devil with the grenade launcher and the subway. The whole subway bit reminded me of Resident Evil 2, where you're Leon, you're with Ada, and the arms coming through the subway, you're shooting at it. It's kind of like this thing here where Arnold and the girl in the subway. Was it Robin Tunney? I think it was Robin Tunney, and they're shooting at the arm coming out. And Arnold shoots the grenade launcher, blows the devil back. The ending, I thought, actually had merit. Spoiler of the self-sacrifice. I think because when they added the bit with him looking up and he sees his wife, he sees his kid waiting for him, he smiles. That was the nice addition to make that ending work. I think there was an ending that Arnold lived. I would like to have seen that ending. If you watch one of the trailers, they kind of show that because in one of the trailers, it's the big devil fireball thing, pissed at Arnold. In the movie, Arnold's like this, but in the trailer, Arnold's standing. Now, maybe they did that to try to hide the ending from people, but I've heard that there was a different ending shot. But if that's the case, I've never seen it, hasn't seen the light of day. But that's a lot of fun. I never understood the hate that film got. It's Arnold fucking up the devil. What's wrong with that? And number one is the Blair Witch Project. The Blair Witch Project I saw on VHS tape. I did not get into the hype because I don't even know if we had a computer. We didn't have a computer at that point, and it was the hype is mostly on the net. We didn't have a computer at that point, didn't so thus didn't have internet, so didn't hear it. The only way I heard of the film was a Siskel and Ebert review, and maybe a few TV spots. I know, what is this movie? Got on VHS tape, watched it. I know there have been found footage films before that. I know that after the fact, but at that time, I had never seen a film like that before. So I'm watching going, wow, this is so new. This is so different. This is so unique. It's like finding someone's home movie. And I was there. I was the fourth member of this group. The three, Heather, Josh, and Mike, gave incredibly believable performances. I know people say, well, it's so easy. I have seen over 100 found footage films. Let me tell you, it's not that fucking easy. There's a lot of them that they're as believable as a $3 bill. Heather, Josh, and Mike, they should be commended for making it. They made it look easy. That's the thing. They made it look easy. But it's not that easy. And they should be commended for that. I like the little bits of mythology thrown in there. I think the three are likable. Heather, she's a bit pushy, but her apologies and stuff afterward, I think, make up for it, at least in my eyes. There's bits that made me chuckle. There's bits that made me creeped out. Less is more. Worked for that movie. And to me, for me, it's the prototypical found footage film. It was done the best. Even the ending. I'm not usually a fan of those type of endings, but it worked in this. Maybe because you have the opening, maybe because just how well done it is. Like, if you don't want to do it, you better do it very, very well, and it did. And for that one time, sure, I don't need to see it 85 other times. I remember I was obsessed. I had the t-shirt, which I outgrew because that was 1999, but it was the t-shirt that had the missing poster of Heather, Josh, and Mike on it. I had the shot glasses. I had the comic book. I tried to look up there was the special that was on Sci-Fi Channel, I believe, at the time. I even tried to look into, was it the Burkittsville 7, the other fake little documentary that was a part of Blair Witch. Just became a sucker for it. Watched Blair Witch 2, thought it sucked. So, the Blair Witch 2016 sucked even. See, look at my body. My body's like, as I'm talking about that shitty fucking sequel reboot. And to be fair, I've never played the game. I've said it sucks because it looks like it sucks. Who knows? Maybe one day, if someone sends me a copy, they send me a paid request, maybe I will play the game. And you see me rant on it. There you go. There's an offer. If someone sends me the game and sends a paid request, I'll play Blair Witch, the video game. And I'll be ranting on it because it does look like a shitty game. But, you know. But yeah, the Blair Witch Project was a one and done deal. It worked well. And I have no fucking clue why it does not have a big bona fide special edition. I mean, that was 1999, 2009, 2019, 2021, 22. Next year is going to be the 25th anniversary of that film, which is crazy. It makes me feel old. But yeah, next year is the 25th anniversary. Can someone, Arrow Video, fucking Venator Syndrome, since you release so many shit, release something good once in a while, like this. Someone please get the Blair Witch Project and do something. Let's have a new commentary with the three actors. Sit down with the directors and talk about the film. Let's have a good bona fide documentary. Let's have a good location bed. You can get Sean Clark or someone else. Although the one I saw wasn't too bad that someone had me react to. That wasn't too bad. But why we need a bona fide I know the picture quality is not going to be that different because it's fucking found footage, but it deserves the bells and whistles because it's in my opinion, whether you hate or like the film, it made an impact. And there's a lot of films that were a fart in the wind that has gotten 10 times more shit on physical media than that fucking film has. And that's a fucking crime. So, that's my view on it. So number 15, Bowfinger, 14, Blue Street, 13, Dogma, 12, Resurrection, 11, Fight Club, 10, 8mm, 9, Galaxy Quest, 8, Sleepy Hollow, 7, The Mummy, 6, House on Haunted Hill, 5, Universal Soldier The Return, 4, Deep Blue Sea, 3, The Matrix, 2, End of Days, and 1, The Blair Witch Project. So with that said, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.